Hey, what's up everybody? Video 44 coming at you another video. Alright, so FYI, I was having uploading speed issues once again. They had remedied the problem for a second, but I guess they realized that I was still talking that good stuff and got back to slowing me down. So I don't know how this is going to affect things going forward, but we'll keep on doing the best we can. And that's pretty much where I'm at with that. But yeah, man, talk about stuff that I'm seeing around the NBA. Of course, we didn't talk about the injuries, man. Russell Westbrook broke his hand, had successful surgery on it today. So I don't know how long he's going to be out, but I'm guessing they're going to put a cast on that thing. So it'll probably be about a month if I'm guessing, but I really don't know what the official word is on that. And then Scotty Barnes broke his hand as well. And that was pretty bad for him. I don't know about surgery in regards to him. I haven't heard anything updated on that. What else? You got a weird kind of knee injury from Jalen Brunson, the Knicks. But from what I understand, he's expected to be okay. It's like a funny bone type of thing. He just got hit in the right spot, and it messed with his ability to move properly with his ankle. It's kind of weird, but I listened to the doc speak on that, doc on YouTube that often speaks about injuries right after they happen, and he was essentially saying he should be fine for the most part if what he thought took place happens. It's just almost like a funny bone type of stinger type thing. So hopefully that'll be the case, because I did not update my fantasy basketball team, and this is championship week for some of my squads, so I didn't take him off of there. Fingers crossed he'll be able to play. But yeah, that's what's going on. Of course, y'all know, everybody knows the Boston Celtics beat the brakes off of the Golden State Warriors last night on national television. Couldn't enjoy that at all, because of course, even though I need the Warriors to lose a lot as a Laker fan, we never want to see the Boston Celtics have this type of success. So it wasn't nothing we could really appreciate. We just got to sit back on the sideline and be thankful that things falling our way, our place, in regards to standings. So we need people to lose in the Western Conference, and Golden State is definitely one of them teams. A lot of things went our way last night, and of course, we played OKC Thunder tonight, so if we can win that game somehow, it'll really capitalize on all of the good luck that we've been having over the last 24 hours. So, yeah, that's really what I'm thinking about as a Laker fan. I haven't really had my eyes on other teams, to be honest with you. Not over the last couple of days, but, taking a glance at the standings, I can legitimately say that it's going to be a fight to the end in the Western Conference, man. It's a lot of these teams, Dallas, New Orleans, and that's what I guess I can go into. New Orleans is the one team in the Western Conference I legitimately don't think I've thought about or talked about at all this year. Not at all. And I guess it's one of those situations where it's just like, you just look at them and say, yeah, they've been above the fray and winning games, but you don't expect them to really do anything in the playoffs. But we know they're a dangerous team. That's the thing about the New Orleans Pelicans. They're a very dangerous team because they have key defensive players, key shooters, size, guys that can be good in breaking you down and getting their own bucket, guys who can get buckets for others. So they don't really lack any of the elements that you would need to compete. So I wouldn't be overly surprised if they got out of the first round this year. Depending on who their matchup is, I wouldn't be overly surprised. But I'm not going to sit up here and say I expect it. You know what I mean? But I can say that B.I. has been playing good the second half of the season after the All-Star break. He's been having a good stretch here, and Zion's been healthy, which makes all the difference, and they're finally getting a chance to really play with one another after being on the same team for all these years, but never quite healthy at the same time. So with Zion getting in better and better conditioning, they become more and more dangerous as that happens. And you got Herb Jones continuing to play well. You got Hawkins, who they got in the draft, is arguably one of the best shooters on the planet. Still developing, but very, very dangerous. Extremely dangerous basketball player. So you got to watch out for him. And then, of course, you got, Alvarado healthy. We know what he can do defensively. You know what I'm saying? It really is a good team. Of course, C.J. McCollum also getting buckets. consistently scoring a lot, having a pretty good season over there. So, they got the elements. That's what it really comes down to. They have the elements. They could use another facilitating point guard, a Josh Giddey type, as an addition just to put him on the squad, or somebody like him would probably be all they need to get over the top. But if they can just get playmaking out of their other players who are not point guards, I think they can really be a dangerous basketball club. But it's one of those situations where you look up and you realize, this team has been in the playoff hunt all year long. They haven't been in the play-in tournament area. And when you start talking about Dallas, you start talking about, some of the teams that are surrounding that area, Denver, you forget that New Orleans is right there in the mix. They're the one team that nobody's talking about, nobody thinks nothing of. Probably expect them to fall out of their range at some point, and they've just been hovering in that 5 seed area the whole time. And when you talk about the Clippers, you talk about various different teams, it's easy to forget about the Pels. The Pels are there, and that Hawkins piece being picked up without losing anything, getting him in the draft, I think that was a big deal. You're talking about picking up some really lethal shooting that you can bring off your bench. If he's hot, you're talking about a very, very dangerous score runner-upper. That's what he is. Somebody who will run the score up fast. You think you got a 5-point deficit. Next thing you know, you're down by 20 because he got hot. And B.I. ain't even on the floor, that kind of thing. So they're dangerous as hell, man. Extremely dangerous. And when you talk about having size to match up with heavy players like Jokic and Embiid and those guys, Valanciunas has that size. He's not necessarily playing at that level, but you're not devoid of that piece to at least throw something at him. And a lot of these contenders are devoid of that piece. So the Pelicans can be potentially dangerous. I'm not going to say anybody's avoiding them, but they're the type of team you overlook and then they smack you. It's that kind of thing. Lakers did that against them earlier in the season after beating them by 40 in the play-in tournament, which is another reason why people overlook them, because you saw how they performed there. And we came in on a bad stretch and they smacked the crap out of us, almost beat us by the same amount we beat them by. So if I'm not mistaken, my Lakers played them once more near the tail end of the schedule. They'll probably be benching players. We'll probably be fighting for our lives. So I don't know what necessarily to expect as far as that game is concerned. But that's a team that I no longer want to sleep on. I don't want to sleep on them. We talk about the Dallases, talking about the Clippers, talk about all these teams, and forget about the Pels. Not anymore. I want to keep them in mind and respect the fact that they have not wavered from staying above play-in tournament status. So that's what I wanted to say. The Pelicans, super, super deep sleeper. And I don't expect nothing of them, but I think that's the point. That's exactly the type of team that someday is going to blow everybody out the water when the playoffs come around. Someday a team like that is going to do something. That's all I got to say. Someday it's going to be a team in that 5 range that nobody's talking about that just peaks at the right time in the playoffs and gets to the Western Conference Finals, something like that. Maybe this is the year for that team. Maybe it is. Because I am not sold on any of these contenders at all. Minnesota, I'm not sold. OKC, I'm going to get a good look at them tonight, see how they're doing right now. Clippers without Westbrook, how long he's going to be out, I'm not sure. But without Russell, I'm not sold on them anyway. Y'all know that. I'm just not sold. I don't doubt they have talent, but I also don't doubt they're a bit old. And I just wonder how it's going to really play out for them dudes. I don't expect them to win anything. So that's a thing. But, Boston's clicking right now. And a part of me wonders if they're going to play like this in the playoffs or if something's going to happen to shake them loose. Because at the end of the day, the Boston Celtics have shown they've been a good regular season team. But in the playoffs, they're hit or miss, man. Sometimes they have big years. They got like the year they got to the finals. Others, you just see Jason Tatum fall apart. Now, honestly, I don't think they're as dependent on JT money to lead them this year. Not with guys like Porzingis and Drew Holiday now in fold. He can have a bad game, and Porzingis can still go for 30. Drew Holiday can lock down the best player, go for 30 himself, and Jaylen Brown could have a bad game, and they still do great. You know what I mean? That's a real thing. So I think that that's what brings them to a space where they're over the top in terms of those players who have struggled in the playoffs don't necessarily have to be the focal point of what brings them to where they need to go. You can have a series where Jrue Holiday averages 25 points. It's not crazy at all. So, like, that's what makes them so incredibly real this year, in my opinion. But I still wonder about them when it comes to that one piece, particularly that center position. Now, Porzingis is the truth, no doubt. I like Porzingis this year. He's been great. He was good with the Washington Wizards, too. But you have to wonder if it really comes down to it. Can you trust his health? Is he going to be that one piece that's missing? And if he's gone, I don't know what they're going to do with that center position. Obviously, they brought in a few guys at that center position, one being from the Memphis Grizzlies, Xavier Tillman. He's interesting to me, I guess, but he's a little undersized, man. I don't, if you're matched up with Miami, you feel kind of good about him going up against a Bam or somebody like that. But you're talking about Joel, talking about Jokic in the finals, I don't feel all that confident that they can make moves properly without Porzingis being 100%. And Porzingis has been 100% all year. At any moment, it can go left. And unfortunately, that's just what the history shows us. So, and then Jrue Holiday, as good as he has been, we also remember how he played in the playoffs last year. He disappeared. So, like, when they're all clicking at once, you get the 140 to 87 game. Like, that's what happens. They've blown teams out when they all play on a string. And he got Peyton Pritchard, who's coming into his own. Shouldn't surprise anybody. That dude's the truth. He's been the truth. He's just been stuck on the back of their bench. But Peyton Pritchard has always been able to shoot threes and play at a high level. Nobody should be surprised to see him get 17 off the bench or something like that at all. But when you really consider what they need to win a championship, it comes down to them having size, man. It comes down to, is Porzingis, Tillman, and the guy they got from Sacramento, of whose name escapes me right now, are those players enough at the center position? Because if the answer is no, they're going to be running small ball, and I don't think that's going to cut it. Not when it matters most. You may be able to get away with that in the first round, depending on the matchup. But once you start running into real teams with real centers, it could be a problem. Now, the New York Knicks are starting to fall off from what I've seen in the standings. It's a couple teams that are probably going to cancel each other out, though, in that space, like Philadelphia. Because they don't have Joel, and I don't know if he's going to be returning this year. Probably not. They've been hovering above 500 since he's gone down, I think. Actually, I don't know that to be true, but they've been playing pretty well since Joel went down, but you just have to expect eventually they're just going to get outclassed. They don't have it without Joe. Now, with Joe, they're a real contender, but without him, they're just a nice puncher's team with a puncher's chance of making noise, but nothing too serious. The Orlando Magic are starting to get it together in the Eastern Conference after having a lull. They started the season off extremely strong, kind of fell off midway, and are starting to pick it back up. I think a lot of that has to do with the health of Paolo Banchero. When he goes down, it's not the same dynamic, but once he comes back, he's immediately proven all-star at this point. So, they're intriguing to me because I know they have elements as well that can catch people off guard. Pretty solid bench, defensive mindset. They're pretty solid. And so I don't know if they have any more than a puncher's chance, just like Philly. But you feel great if you're either one of those teams, if you run into one another. That's the kind of thing, like, somebody can get out of the first round that probably ain't supposed to in the Eastern Conference just because of that. Players going down with injury but still having solid teams. And so Philadelphia, New York is another one. But I don't know when Julius is coming back. I haven't heard anything about that. He went down with the shoulder about a month ago. I'd imagine he's not out for the full season, but without him, they've struggled some. They've been losing games, and now that you got, Brunson, even though I think the knee is going to be fine, who knows if he misses any games, he can't really afford to. So that's an intriguing situation there with the New York Knicks. They're just falling into some hard times at the wrong time and have hovered above the third spot, but will probably fall out of that spot if they keep on their losing ways to close the season. So it's just an unlucky year for the New York Knicks if this continues the way it's been going these last couple of weeks. Who else? Some Eastern Conference teams that are interesting to me. Cavaliers, very interesting to me. I think they've played at a high level all year long and have proven they deserve some respect. What they can do, I don't know. As it pertains to the Eastern Conference, a lot of what I think their upside is has to be dictated by the production of their bench, for which last year wasn't very strong. This year I think it's been a little stronger with the addition of Max Strus, who really had an unsung year, kind of quietly had a fantastic year for the Cleveland Cavaliers. And now that they got Garland back, who's been missing most of the season, you got to think they're going to make a jump, especially if they can keep everybody healthy from here. You know, they got Mobley back, you know, so that's an interesting team, because a lot of what people are judging them by is based on them not having those two players in place, and they're back at the right time. So if you see the Cleveland Cavaliers make noise this year in ways that they weren't able to last year, shouldn't necessarily be too surprised, because they're getting back basically two all-star level players in Garland and Mobley. And so I think they could sneakily, in a sneaky way, if they're fully healthy, they could be the biggest threat to the Boston Celtics in a sneaky way. So that's what I'm saying. I don't pay enough attention to the Eastern Conference to really tell you that I have a whole lot of confidence in what I'm saying. But just judging things from afar, I think the Cleveland Cavaliers are a very, very dangerous team. Donovan Mitchell being healthy, Garland being healthy, Mobley, Allen, Spruce. This a dangerous team, man. Very dangerous. And as a Laker fan, I would love to see them upset the Boston Celtics in the playoffs this season. Nothing would make me happier, personally, than to see them beat them. So I don't know if they'll actually match up. We'll see. Hopefully they get a chance to. So yeah, that's where my head is, you guys. About to go into the hotel. But I just want to make a quick NBA video for everybody. My name is BDF44. I thank you all for watching.